What is going on, everybody? It's your boy ptkblam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast, episode 368. So right off the bat, I know you guys can see our guest is not here yet, but he will be here soon. Shout out to Slow Mo. So he is on his way here. So you guys, as soon as he gets here, I will bring him in and you guys will be able to say, your hellos, and we'll go ahead and get the show officially started. But for now, it's just the three amigos. First and foremost, shout out to everybody in chat, everybody watching live, everybody watching on a replay. We greatly appreciate you guys hanging out with us every single Sunday, man. 5 weeks in a row now. Things are starting to feel more consistent now, and the schedule's kind of locked in, so everybody's starting to feel good. But I hope you all have had a phenomenal freaking week. So let me just say hello in the chat. So what's up, BAC? I saw Timmy in there, and everybody else is gonna go ahead and jump in chat later. But let me get to my fellas while we're sitting here, man. It's been a busy week. It's been a great week. A lot of Battlefield, a lot of other games coming out too. But we're gonna start with you, Pong. How you been? What you been playing? I know we were talking pregame, about some other things going on in the background there, but I know you're always gaming. Even if it's not a AAA, it's an indie somewhere in between. How you been, brother?
I've been doing good, brother, and it's not a shocker. Slow-mo's not here. I mean, again, it's par for the course, and obviously we could ask Gaming Forte about that, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to tell you about Slow-mo. But no, I can't wait to get Slow-mo in here, man. It's been a minute since I've talked to the guys. So, busy week. But definitely got some Battlefield in again. Steele and I went live with it on Saturday morning again. Instead of doing our show, that was our show. Gamers first all the time. So we played some Battlefield. And it just continues. There is some critiques that are certainly valid, and there's some people that have some critiques. But overall, Zampella's crushing it. Him and his team are crushing it. They can ride this hype wave into launch and beyond, and as long as they stick the landing here. So happy to see where Battlefield's at. Otherwise, I don't really have anything to sell other than this. I will tell you guys this. I now have, I don't know, about 4 or 5 hours in, I guess, so I could probably speak a little bit more on this game. The demo's out right now. It's coming out, I think the game's coming out September, October. Can't remember. Hell is Us. Go try this demo.
Okay.
Go try this demo. Go try this demo. See if it's for you. It's not a AAA game. It is a AA game, but what this dev team, I even forget who the dev team is. Let me look that up real quick because I always want to give credit where credit's due. They are trying to do something really cool here. I don't know if everybody's going to be on board with the game as far as what they're trying to do, but I think that there are a lot of people are going to be caught off guard, I should say, with how good this game is. It's developers Rogue Factor, and it's published by Nacon. I want to say Nacon, but I knew they weren't developing it, but Nacon's publishing. We saw this game, I think late last year, I want to say, or Gamescom last year, something like that. Anyways, I've gotten into this demo, and I've played it more and more. Game is cool as hell. This is something, it reminds me, because, okay, let me just put it this way. So it's kind of a not an open world. It's a very controlled type world in a lot of ways. However, they give you freedom to explore, and they give you no UI. Okay, there's no UI, there's no map, there's no map markers, there's none of that. It is up to you to go figure shit out. And they've got a whole slew of puzzles and little side missions that you come across to finish. This reminds me of, in some ways, Remnant from the Ashes 2. If you guys played Remnant 2 like we did, me, Steele, Jasper, I mean, we beat the game. We got to go back. There's actually DLC that we never got to. That game was like a choose your own adventure book. And you would wind up figuring out a puzzle or entering a doorway or going through a mirror and winding up in some really crazy world. So this doesn't do that per se, but the puzzles reminded me of that because you're on your own to figure them out. And the game actually tells you that up front and says, hey, you're going to have to listen. You're going to have to pay attention to figure shit out. I love those types of games. Those games get me going. Finally got into some combat. Not Souls. Okay, so let's just get that out the gate. Some people will look at
My
it.
ears are open now.
Correct. Some people will look at it, if you go look at some of the footage from the game, and you will think that it is or could be a Souls-like. It's not. There is blocking, parrying. There is dodging. Yes, it would be in your benefit to learn how to do them, but is it necessary? No. As a button masher hack and slash guy, I have already gotten through the whole. I mean, I had to be careful. I was using some more med kits than I probably needed to because I was being a little too aggressive. I could have backed off a little bit and kind of done some work, but it's not a Souls. So that's already an A+ in my book. I'm enjoying the combat. There's multiple weapons. There's loot. There's loot, PTK. There's loot. You get to level up your weapons, PTK. So you earn experience on your weapons and level them up. There's mods to add to your weapons as well. The weapons themselves, you do have to monitor your stamina. So there is a little Souls there where the stamina does matter. But the weapons, if you want a speedy weapon, I got the twin axes, right? I'm dual wielding axes right now. I went from a sword to dual wielding axes, and it feels completely different. Atmosphere, off the charts, cool atmosphere. The music in the background, tone setting music, creepy, because this is a dark world. This is like okay, listen, this is modern day kind of Earth stuff here, but with massive twists. And like we're in a separate dimension, okay? So like it's modern day Earth. They even talk about like the UN, okay? There's the UN peacekeepers involved, but there's a civil war going on between two factions. They've got religion in this game that's kind of reminds me a little of Warhammer-ish type religion here. It's not our standard religions, but it is based on some of that, but it gets really wild, okay, with what they're talking about in game with the stuff that you find, but it is like a modern day, like you're walking around like Earth, right? Okay, that's basically what it is. And there's a military faction, there's a civilian faction, rebel faction if you want to call it that, and then you got the UN peacekeepers in the middle. Again, hard to explain, but a dimension has opened up. There's these demon-like creatures that have come through that you're wind up fighting, and so far I'm loving this game. So go check out Hell Is Us. Go check it out.
I've heard of that game a few different times, seen it on the timeline. Never really did a deep dive on it to really look and see what it was. It did give me heavy vibes of other games though, like Resident Evil. Not quite the like style of the game, just the way it looked, the atmosphere, things like that. So I definitely got to check it out. I did not realize it was a demo for it, but you guys know, you go check it out. You know what I mean? Shout out to Pong, appreciate you, man. Didn't have anything to sell this week, but that's a great
I'm selling the demo.
Yeah.
The game's coming out September 4th, by the way. So, it is right around the corner. Performance-wise, there is a performance and quality mode for the Series X. I am playing it on console. Looks good. I did not try it out on the PC yet, but it looks good on the Series X. Performance mode, I didn't feel any big dips or anything like that. Smooth 60 from my standpoint. You put it in quality mode, it's definitely 30. You can definitely tell that I would not play this game at 30. But again, it's overall great game. Go check out the demo. It's right around the corner. AA game. Again, I love my AA's, and this dev teams did something cool here, man. Like I said, story-wise is very interesting. Very interesting.
Awesome. So go check it out, you guys. Shout out to you, Pong, for being here once again. Slow-mo just hit me up. He will be here. He just reiterated him in the DMs. He will be here. Sorry, he's running a little bit behind. But like you said, Pong, you expected that, right? Accordingly, right? That's pretty much on par for Slow-mo. But shout out to Slow-mo when he gets here. Appreciate him for coming through. But Fuzz, how you been, bro? I know what you've been playing because we've been playing together. We played a few hours earlier, on Division. You played a little Diablo. So, we diving back into some of the older stuff while we're waiting on some of this new stuff to get started. But how you been, brother?
I've been great. Just been running around most of this past week and this weekend. Finally got the flooring done for the podcast rooms for me and the wife. Did a music video shoot yesterday, so couldn't really game much yesterday. But just been a lot of running around and then finally getting to catch up on some gaming today. And had to go back into the Division. At some point, I want to get that Tinkerer mask, which is that Astro Bridge, or I forget what it was called. It was something A Bridge, where basically you take the talents from two of the same weapon or same type of weapon, and you can load it up on at least your primary. It's not quite as good as it was in Division 1, but Alpha Bridge. That's what it was.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a pretty decent one if you are all set on just going either AR or SMG or LMG or something like that. Doing the shotguns, I don't know how well that'll hold up in the division, especially if you're doing anything above challenging. But yeah, I definitely want to get that mask because I'm just trying a whole bunch of different builds now and got to hop back into Diablo. And I'm going to go with a sorcerer this time, although it's going to be all lightning. So all electrical,
Nice.
arc,
Nice.
lightning. Like I already did the fire thing, although it was early on when it was real weak. But yeah, this should be an exciting build for Diablo, and I'm gonna try to see if I can get some Battlefield time in before the beta ends. Although pre-ordered the game, looking forward to it. Yeah, it's there's a lot of games, not enough time in the day type of thing. But yeah, trying not to let the backlog build up too much. But yeah, just having fun.
Awesome. Well, that's glad to hear it, man. Well, I've been doing much of the same, chat. Diving back in to some of the older games. I went and played Diablo last night for a few hours. The new season is actually pretty fun. Got up to, I think, level 52. So I went back to Rogue,
Nice.
threw that on, doing some different stuff there. Obviously, jumped back into Division with you today, Fuzz. So yeah, I've been just back on some of the old stuff, doing dailies, grinding. You know how I go. To some of the newer stuff that I'm interested in comes out. But chat, what you guys been playing? Let us know in chat as well too. Hit the like button. Check me out on TikTok as well too. I always forget to mention that as well too. If you guys want some other content, I do make TikToks as well too. So appreciate you guys. But let's dive in, man. We got a lot to talk about. It's been a phenomenal week. So let's dive in, man. And I want to start it with this one because very interesting. This is a game that I know a lot of us have been looking forward to. And shout out to Pearl Abyss. Looks like Crimson Desert. We got some information that it's essentially delayed, looks like until Q1 of 2026. Now, I don't think this was a bad delay. This is one of the delays that I looked at and said, oh man, this is not one of those situations. I was like, okay, cool. Like, because the style of the game, it looks like The Witcher on steroids. The game, you know what I mean? It looks like whatever The Witcher would have evolved to is Crimson Desert. So if you guys don't know, Pearl Abyss, same people that made Black Desert Online is making Crimson Desert, and the game looks fucking amazing. So they did delay it, citing that they just want to polish it, make sure the game is in the best possible state. And this is one game, especially being this type of game as ambitious as it is. Please take as much time as you need to get this right, because you're only going to get one time to make a great first impression with this game. So please make it, polish it, do what you got to do. Take as much time as you possibly need to get this game out. So I'm going to start with you, Pong, on this one. Obviously, this is a game that is much like, in my opinion, much like Black Myth Wukong. When I first saw it, I'm like, there's no way this is real, right? Same type of situation with Black Myth. Like, yeah, this is real. This is just some sizzle real stuff. It's not going to look or play anything like this. And come to find out, everything I've seen from Crimson Desert as far as gameplay, because there's been a bunch of people that actually have gotten hands-on with it, it looks amazing. It looks just as good as the trailers show it. It looks just as ambitious. So where you at on the delay, Pong?
Well, I mean, yeah, we got plenty to play. So I'm
that
cool
too,
with the
that
delay.
too.
Yeah.
That too.
I mean, I hate to say that because it is like there's plenty of games where I'm always again when Starfield got delayed, I had plenty to play, but I was still pissed off, right? So again, for people out there looking, really looking forward to this game. Obviously, I know it sucks, and I have been for a long time looking forward to this game. Steele and I were on this game before anybody else was even talking about it. You can go back and listen to Living Split Screen, and we were actually talking about this game before anybody else really saw it, because Steele was a huge Black Desert Online
fan.
Yeah, long guy, and I put about 100 hours into Black Desert Online, so nowhere near what Steele did, but I had experience and I knew this dev could pull this off, right? Especially the combat. My curiosity is now in a different spot. They just released 13 more minutes, I think. Mm-hmm. Of actual gameplay. I've seen enough gameplay. This game is real. Okay. I've seen enough of the action. Okay. This game is going to be spectacular as far as the action goes. Like, I have no concerns about the combat. I never did, but the minute I saw it, I knew this was what we were getting. I am curious because they have shied away from the RPG descriptor and have said this is an action combat game. I want to know how the game's going to play. That's what I'm looking for. I want to see the first deep dive on the mechanics within the game. Now, I have to see, like, are we going to get loot? Right? Is there going to be loot? Is there not loot? Is there some type of RPG mechanics? Because obviously, even in action games, we get blended in RPG mechanics. Like, how much of that? Like, how does our character level up? Does our character level up? Like, how is that progression within the game? What mechanics are we using within the game? That's now what I'm curious about at this point. They have taken what was their specialty, their forte, which was the MMO that they developed in Black Desert Online. And they basically opened up that world to a single player game. Like basically wherever you can look on the screen, whatever you see, you're going to really be able to get to. And I think that freedom is really what I'm noticing when they keep showing a lot of these clips or add more footage that we haven't gotten before. So I'm good. I'm settled in. The delay is the delay. If they need it, they obviously needed to do it. Delay it. Again, 2026 is going to be stacked too. Like there's no, like this isn't like, oh, we moved to a nice calm year. Well, no, 2026 might be the greatest year of all time in video game history. By just
said that 4 years in a row, Paul,
right?
You realize that,
they
right?
keep ramping up. Well, we talked about this. What the industry was lining up after the pandemic, how all these games were lining up, and each year we have gotten more and more and more big titles coming out, and next year is no freaking joke. I mean, even if you take Grand Theft Auto out, there is still holy shit levels of gaming to be done next year, and then you put Grand Theft Auto in there for most people, and that's holy. I mean, that's a black hole game. Like that's a black hole game in itself. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what this team finally does. Obviously, again, I've been hyped for a very long time on it. I've seen enough combat, and I believe what they're putting out. I think that the Eastern devs for sure have now proven themselves, where I think most people can start relaxing a little bit on the, oh, they're going to really be able to do this. Like, almost every single one to a T over the past 2 to 3 years has come very close to what they've shown us, if not superseded what they've shown us every time they launch a game. Again, I'm talking about the Eastern devs. So I think we can just say, yeah, this is how good they are over there. They know what they're doing, and when they show us something, they're not bullshitting us. It is legit. So can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Awesome. There are to be honest with you, there are some nuanced things there, and you did mention those things. It's obviously we can't see everything. The combat looks phenomenal. Like you said, the game looks like it plays very well. It's obviously beautiful. It literally is just like you said, they just took the restrictions off of the MMO and said, hey, we're gonna make a single player game out of it, basically. So the game looks fucking phenomenal. But like you said, there are some other things that I need to see. But looks like our guest rolled in here. What is up, Slow-Mo? How you doing, brother?
How's it going, gentlemen? I hope you guys are having a good Sunday evening.
Did you just wake up or get out of a massage? Which one, Slow-Mo?
Oh no, this is my normal voice. This is my love talk and slow jams DJ after dark voice.
It definitely is the after dark voice. I got that.
Oh yeah, for sure. But
to be honest, I haven't like really opened my mouth too much in the past like 3 or 4 hours. So that's probably what that is. I gotta ramp up into my normal voice. So.
Ramp up. Nice, man. Well, shout out to you for being here. First and foremost, guys, we got our guest Slow-Mo Backslap, co-host of DPS podcast as well. Shout out to Forte as well. We were talking about you before you got in here, brother. So shout out to you for being here, though, man. Glad to see you. It's been a while since you've been on the show, but appreciate you being here, man.
Oh yeah, no problem, no problems at all. It's been a while, and it's good to see you, gentlemen. I haven't been on a podcast with the three of you in a minute, so I definitely love to like converse about games, and like I like hearing different people's opinions on things. I know there's a lot of echo chambers in the gaming community, and I'm definitely a non-echo chamber kind of guy, so I like to hear what everyone's got to say on everything, and I like hearing from people who don't literally prescribe to a particular flag, and that's it. So yeah, it's gonna be a good show, man. Can't wait.
Awesome. So I mean, we might as well just dive in feet first, and we were just talking about Crimson Desert being delayed to Q1. And looks like obviously one of those games that was extremely highly anticipated. I was akinning it to Black Myth Wukong at first because it almost looked like it was too good to be true when you first saw the trailer. But come to find out, as they've released more gameplay, that's actually what the game is, and the game actually looks and plays that way now. Pong did mention there's some nuanced things, the story, RPG mechanics, how deep is all of that stuff. But ultimately, I don't think this was a bad delay at all. I didn't look at this delay and was like, this is fucking terrible. Like, it was like, okay, cool. Like, yeah, just make it as good as it possibly can be because you're going to need to. This is a game that's, the expectations are through the roof for people that like want the game, for people that are interested in it. So you got a high bar set. But where you at on just the delay, the game? Were you already interested in Crimson Desert?
Yeah, I was already interested in it. I like Pearl Abyss. I haven't liked all of their games, but I appreciate what they provide to the gaming industry, and their game engine is fantastic. It's been a bit too heavy for, I think, for current day hardware, but I appreciate the fact that, like, in their earnings call that discussed the delay, they were talking about how, like, console certification and other preparations for the launch of the game are the reason what parts of the reason why they decided to delay it, which I'm fine with, because I felt like Black Desert, which was one of their previous games, which is an MMO, it was okay, but I I dealt with way too many bugs. I felt like
Yep.
the game wasn't optimized very well on PC, and and hearing that they are delaying the game in order to kind of make these things better, kind of, it doesn't completely put me at ease, but it makes me feel a little bit better about how it may launch. And from what I've seen of the gameplay, a lot of the issues that I had with Black Desert seem to be alleviated. So I'm kind of interested in this one. This was going to be definitely like one of my top 5 games of next year, and I can't wait to play it, man.
Facts. Game looks phenomenal. Game looks great. And like I said before, it absolutely, when I first saw it, so I'm not even going to sit up here and cap. I was like, yeah, this is probably not going to be anywhere near, what the actual game is. But like I said, come to find out, the more gameplay that they released. Now, I played a little bit of Black Desert Online. I didn't play a ton of it. I love the aesthetics, love the combat. But like you said, there was a lot of issues technically with the game, and it kind of turned me off, and I didn't continue to play it. But I know it got a lot better as it went on, though, because I know like
Yeah.
Steel plays it. There's a few other people on my friend list that play it religiously, and it got much, much, much better. If you jumped in now, it's a completely different game. So shout out to Pearl Abyss for making an awesome game, man. Because I'm
Yeah.
super looking forward to Crimson Desert.
Yeah, I want to say this real quick. I remember, like, I know a lot of people don't pay attention to GDC, that's the Game Developers Conference, because it's not really tailored to gamers, it's tailored to developers. But I generally pay attention to it because it allows me to see what developers are working on, what to expect from these developers in the future, and the kind of game designs they'll put in. So, like, I'm kind of a nerd like that. I get into those things. And one year, this is a long time ago, but one year, Pearl Abyss did a presentation at GDC, and they were doing a presentation on how to have, like, great visual density and great visual fidelity in open world games and not lose a lot of detail. And if you look at Black Desert, beautiful game, but big open world map, and like, how or were they able to do that? And they had a great presentation using, like, a race car track to kind of like get developers the idea of how to do it. But they've tailored their engine to those kind of things. So when you look at, like, I think it was Pong when I first came in, I was talking about, like, people see a game and they think, oh, that's cap. It's not going to look like that at launch. It's the Watchdog situation all over again. I believe the game will look like that because it's Pearl Abyss, and it's literally what they do. So, like, I was pretty confident that, like, gameplay will look just like the opening trailer did.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And that's 100% true. I mean, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? But just looking at the gameplay, I could see why people would hesitate and say, you know what, let me give it a little bit of time, even though it being Pearl Abyss and them being extremely skilled, and them making Black Desert Online. So it's a phenomenal, like I said, it almost looks too good to be true. It almost looks like every RPG, an amalgamation of everything you'd want in like an open world game, right? I called it The Witcher 3 on steroids. Like you just took everything in The Witcher 3 and just amped it up to like 12. As far as combat, as far as exploration, the world, the way it looks, NPCs, interactions, all those different kind of things. So I'm gonna throw this over to you, Fuzz. Get your opinion on Crimson Desert, brother. We've talked about this. It's been a while actually since you brought this up, and I'm actually really hyped to be talking about it today because as we get closer and the more and more I've seen, I watched that 13-minute combat or 13-minute gameplay they showed, and man, chills, brother. The game looks phenomenal, man. It looks like you can just lose thousands of hours in it. Where were you at on the delay?
I'm fine with them delaying it just for the fact that gives them more opportunity to hopefully polish some things. They probably saw some things that would have left a bad taste in many of the gamers' mouths that wound up buying it. With this being in a single player, it's probably best to go ahead and have it come out day one the right way, as opposed to fix as you go, which they've done some of that with Black Desert and stuff like that. But I was excited for this game when I saw it because I didn't believe you would be able to, fly or fall out of the sky and do all those crazy maneuvers and different weapon types and attacks and things like that. But all things considered, considering what they were able to do in Black Desert, yeah, it's worth them taking the extra time just to make sure that this thing comes out right. But still excited for the game. There's still plenty of stuff to play in the meantime. So I guess the big thing is it's almost like it's good that it's being delayed, although I don't know how close it'll be to Grand Theft Auto. But then again, Grand Theft Auto, I still don't think is going to be in May because that doesn't sound like any other time that they've released a Grand Theft Auto. Typically they're like fall or winter. So we'll see how 26 goes as far as everybody playing musical chairs with release dates and stuff. But yeah, let them take their time to cook. Let them take their time to polish it, and look forward to it sometime next year.
Same. The game's gonna be freaking amazing. And like you said, the polish, just take your time, do what you got to do. And like you said, I think we all trust Pearl Abyss with what they're doing. And there's no reason to really be apprehensive in this case. But like you said, the gameplay almost looked too good to be true, brother. All of it, like you just mentioned, falling out of the sky, the cape turning into like a damn near like its own like bird-like creature, and you kind of just like, that's insane, bro. Like we haven't really seen that. Like the verticality, being able to go to that mountain and fly off of it and sail off of it and do all of these different things. We see that in other kinds of games, but not so much in those gigantic open world RPG games. So this is really pushing it to like the next level. And I kind of want to ask you again, Slow-Mo, on this. So if you had to, like, what's the one thing that intrigued you the most about Crimson Desert? I know you said you played Black Desert Online, but what about Crimson Desert kind of caught your eye?
I think when it came to, so I remember when I first saw Black Desert, and when I first saw the trailer of it, I was just like, all right, typical MMO, whatever. And then I saw like a clip of gameplay in there, and I was just like, oh, wait a minute now, like that looks different. That looks interesting. And although the gameplay, the combat was okay in Black Desert. When I saw Crimson Desert's gameplay in the first initial trailer, that's what would really, like, if they can nail that. Like, there's always this idea from developers, the ones that I've spoken to, where they have like a vision of what they want the game to be, and sometimes they nail it, sometimes they execute it, sometimes they don't. And when I saw the initial trailer for Crimson Desert, before I saw the gameplay, like I know recently they showed some gameplay that was like 15 minutes or something like that, but they've shown,
Yeah, yep.
I've seen like 7-minute gameplay clips before too. And when they showed that, I was just like, yo, this is exactly what they showed it to be. So like the gameplay is what I'm really, really like interested in. Because I'm not like, I'm not going to say I'm completely burnt out on RPGs, but especially this year, because I've been all over RPGs this year. But it's just, depending on how the combat is, can sometimes really kind of just take me out if I feel like it's not necessarily poorly designed, but like if there's a way that I can just, figure out, oh, okay, I just need to do 2 or 3 things to make my character overpowered, and then now it's no longer a challenge, no matter how I raise the difficulty and stuff like that. From what I'm seeing right now, I do see that like it does seem like a lot of enemies on screen when you get into fights. I can see how that could be overwhelming, and how like if I played on like the highest difficulty, like this is the kind of challenge that I'm looking for.
Mhm.
So yeah,
Awesome.
that's what I'm really hyped for.
All
Hopefully,
right.
you know that because it's one thing to kind of see it, and look, I don't mean to throw anybody under the bus, and I'm throwing the whole organization under the bus, so it's a particular person, but IGN can make a game look bad when it's not bad. You know, it's just like whoever they got playing the game would just be just doing whatever, and it's just like
we
how did
seen the
you?
review, Slow Mo. We absolutely got it. I didn't actually touch the controller, but this game is terrible.
Right. So it's just like it's sometimes I bring them up because sometimes you'll see gameplay, but like, oh, that looks mid. Then it turns out it's like it's actually good. It's just that the person playing it in the preview you saw is a mid gamer, you know, or vice versa, where like it's the devs playing their game and they're cutting it up. You know, you seen it where it's like it's like it's cut up, so it's so many different cuts all over the place like a movie, and it looks fantastic. And then you play and you like, all right, so what was all that stuff I was saying? Because like I don't see any of this. What like it's just so I'm interested. I'm anticipating getting my hands on it myself, and in the fact that they've been very bold and I would say confident and just doing a lot of unedited gameplay, because the gameplay that you see, it isn't a bunch of cuts every which way. It'll be like a whole boss fight or an entire sequence in a battle that's like 5-10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, thank you, because it gives me an idea of what to expect.
Facts. And once that was the thing for me too, and I'm sure Pong Fuzz can probably attest to the same thing, is that anytime a game like this, now I don't think Black Myth Wukong did that. They were way more curated about the videos that dropped for Black Myth Wukong. You know, it was kind of just trailer. Then we didn't really get any actual gameplay until like very close to the release. But like you said, Pearl Abyss has been extremely open about allowing footage, and you know, it's chunks. It's not like, oh, here's a 45-minute video.
If I recall correctly, the first thing they showed from Black Myth was like a 20-minute unedited.
Was it
unedited? Yeah, the first thing they showed.
Oh, you're right. It was that level. It was kind of a start of a level
like
you get.
The first area, like the first area, but the final release was very different. Not very. I mean, the map area is the same, but like some of the stuff that like happened with like the mid boss fight and the final boss fight of that trailer were the same, but a lot of the other things that happened up to that point were different. But it did give you a sense of like what to expect from the gameplay. But they kind of went completely silent after that and didn't show anything for a long time, and just showed like your typical kind of trailers to hype you up for the game. I think from what I heard this, I don't know for certain, but I heard like what they showed was more of like a proto. I wouldn't even say a prototype actually, because what they showed really wasn't playable in the beginning, because they didn't really have the team together to make that. And then they used it as their like test bed or their focus to create the game out of, once they finally got their team, after showing it off and getting everyone hyped up. And then it kind of used it as like a promotion in order to get more people interested in making the game for them. So we see that a few times, and it don't work out. It don't work out the way Black Myth did.
True. Good point. But no. So yeah, once again, Great game. Looking forward to it. It sounds like all of us here are looking forward. It sounds like chat and shout out to you guys are looking forward to it as well. Can't wait. Now, obviously, we don't have a official date Q1, so we're probably going to get some information very early next year. Maybe a new trailer. Who knows? Who knows? But we're very looking forward to it, man. So let's go ahead and just switch pages here. We got a lot to cover this week, and shout out to everybody in chat, man. So we are going to be talking about a little Gears here, right? So there was something small that happened, yet it was a big change, right? So I'd say this week, a week ago or so, the Gears Twitter account or X account, depending on how you feel, posted. They changed like their header and basically saying reemergence 2026. So a lot of people took that as well. Are we getting Gears E-Day 2026? So I just kind of want to throw that out here. Just kind of get you guys quick opinions. Let me know, chat, as well. How do you guys feel about this? And I'll go ahead and just kick the door down on this. Now, I essentially have always thought 26 or 27. The game's been in, been in development for a while now. I thought 26 makes sense. And my headcanon on this, and I'll see if you guys follow me on this, is that Gears will probably get the last portion of the show. The show, what's it called? What do they call the little
night? Wait,
yeah, the direct or
Opening
whatever,
night
the
live.
direct portion. No,
Yeah,
the direct portion of the Xbox showcase. You know how they have they did it for COD, they did it for Starfield, they did it for Outer Worlds 2. My assumption is that Gears is going to get that portion of the show next year in 2026. That's what I hope it
Oh,
looks.
okay. I'm sorry. I thought
For
you
the
were
Dev
talking about
Direct.
Gamescom.
Yeah,
my
the Dev
brain's
Direct.
all over the place.
No, you're good. No, next
The
year.
Dev Direct. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
next year.
Gears as the last thing. Like,
Yeah, so that's my
One of the
headcanon
pillars.
on this. So, and we're gonna start with you on this one again. Slow mo on this one. So obviously they changed the header. Now that's not official or anything, but I think everybody's like internal Gears clock is on track. We're all I pretty much. I think people are thinking 26, 27 at the latest. But where you at on just a change? You think it's 26? Where you at on that?
I think it's 26. I think it's you kind of look at like their timetable with the coalition. We got Gears Reloaded this year, which is like that. This is for those who remember playing Gears 1, kind of like bringing them back into the fold for those like because it's coming out on PlayStation, and it'll be the first time it's been on. Actually, no, it'll be the second time that's been on PC because Ultimate Edition was on PC, but actually no, Ultimate Edition wasn't on PC. It'll be the first time it's on PC as well. So this is just two other platforms that will be having it for the first time. I think that's a good way of kind of like reintroducing the IP to new audiences. And then you get into E-Day, and E-Day can come out next year. I think that's going to be really good. And then I think eventually they may end up doing like Gears 2 and 3, like remasters or remakes to eventually come out as well. And you'll just kind of just ramp up to those until you eventually get back to the Gear 6, hopefully, where you can kind of finish off that story after Gears 5. But I think next year for E-Day makes a lot of sense, as long as there aren't any kind of like milestones missed or any mishaps or delays that were kind of unforeseen. I mean, like they shouldn't be. I kind of feel like when it came to Halo Infinite, they gave it a year delay, but after that, it was like, we don't care what state it's in after this. It has to come out now. And I feel like I've never felt like that's been like a good way to go about things, because if it's not ready, it's just not ready. Your own internal stripes or issues don't change the fact that the game isn't ready to actually be successful in the way that you want it to be. So if that's the case for E-Day, they go ahead and delay it to 2027. But I hope and I believe it's probably going to be 2026.
Same. I agree. And so just to make sure, and before Pong goes here, next year is a very special year for Xbox as well, right? With 25th anniversary, I believe. Phil already came out at the showcase saying that all these tentpole games, he emphasized that they will be there next year, or the showcase next year. So there's that as well too, to kind of bolster that idea. But yeah, I absolutely think it's going to get the direct portion of the show. I hope it does. Like I said, that's my headcanon, is that, if it does get the direct portion of the showcase next year, it's absolutely coming in 26, because every game that's gotten a direct portion has come out the year that it got that portion of the show. So to keep the tradition, if it does, and we can basically lock it in, like you said, barring anything crazy happens, that the game should be ready in 2026. But Pong, long awaited, Pong. This is a game that a lot of people have been waiting on. It's a prequel. Obviously they changed the header. It doesn't mean everything, but devs don't do these things, like on accident either, right? We've seen little small things and people think that they're nothing, and comes to find out that, that actually meant something. So just where you at on the idea of Gears being E-Day coming in 26?
I mean, that was my assumption after his comments, after Phil's comments saying that, that Halo, Gears, and Forza were all going to be there next year, basically, at this point. Obviously, we've got Fable 2. Now, obviously, anything could change. But I think next year is the anniversary year. It makes the most sense to have it launch next year. So I think that, obviously, with the track record, I think it'll be done. And I think that they will get it out next year. I don't think it'll get the Dev Direct. I think Fable will get the Dev Direct.
You do?
Potentially?
Really? Oh, we're gonna have to debate about that one,
potentially,
man.
Potentially. Now, again, obviously, it depends on where
see it,
Fable's
though.
at. If Fable takes
or Fable comes first.
right.
Well, I'm assuming Fable is going to come first, irregardless. Like, I do think Gears is coming after Fable, whatever time of the year it comes out. I think Gears is going to be after Fable.
Oh, okay.
Is that what you were talking about, or did I misunderstand?
I was thinking like how like when they do these shows, the first thing they show is always a big game, and the last thing they show is always a big game.
That okay. You're talking about okay. Got you.
Yeah.
Okay, I misunderstood. My bad.
You good?
No, I just, again, with Fable, potentially delaying out, it depends how long it's going to delay out, right? That's what we're hearing, is that, obviously Fables might not make next year. Okay, so if it delays out into 2027, then obviously it might not get the direct treatment.
True.
But I got to imagine that they're planning for that. And if Fable is going to be, so you got a couple different things you can play with. It's all going to depend on timing. If Fable delays, they could certainly hold it, the direct, and blow it out in January, February, when they do their early direct, right? When they do their early dev direct in 2027. And they could give Fable all the limelight there. But my thought is that Fable gets listen, E-Day's huge, right? Gears coming back, doing a prequel is absolutely gigantic. Fable is on another level simply because it's been gone for so long. And it is an entire reboot of that franchise, which is massive, okay? Which is massive.
That's true.
I just think that if it doesn't delay, for sure it's there. If it does delay, I think Gears would obviously be the potential as a direct. Now, they could split it up. We actually got multiple directs this year, right?
True.
So, because after the showcase, right? Because we did get a look at what do we get a look at? Why can't I think of it off the top of my head right now?
This year?
Yeah, we had two.
Outer Worlds 2.
Yes, Outer Worlds 2, and there was a small one. What the hell was it?
Grounded 2?
Yes, Grounded 2. Thank you. Yes, it was Grounded 2. So they actually did give limelight to 2 in the after show. So you could technically probably split it up evenly amongst those 2. Anyways, it doesn't matter. However they're going to work it, they're going to work it out. The Gears E-Day, I think, for sure hits next year. I'm excited. Again, I had all my bets would have been for next year, just the way Phil was talking about, the way that, I just believed it. Again, things can change. We see it all the damn time, but I think I think E-Day is going to be ready next year. And I think that that's going to be a massive part of their anniversary celebration next year, and that could add another layer to what you're talking about. They could do an additional show next year on top of it with an anniversary show where they give limelight to whatever the Halo new project is. Correct, right? Forza Horizon 6, assuming that's going to be ready as well, and then obviously Gears E-Day. Like, you could have a massive show, anniversary show, where you blow all those games out as well. So and Fable if it's ready. So
I like that idea better. I'm not gonna lie. I
Yeah.
like that idea better than the one I had in my head. You're right, because I mean, think about it too. This is, you only get you know, you only turn 25 one time. This is a very,
Correct.
very special
Correct.
number for companies, right?
Yep.
Especially a company like Xbox. You want to really go all out. And
Yeah,
the fact
they
that
can-
Phil
they can rent cars
emphasized
now.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, it's
It-
and go ahead, Slomo.
something Pong said kind of like got me thinking for a moment. I think Fable is probably going to get delayed to 2027.
Yeah.
And here's why. Their Forza Tech Engine is proprietary to Turn 10 and Playground, and it's not. We've seen why other developers, whether they're big publishers, small developers, whatever, end up going with Unreal is because a lot of the updates, the time that you need of engineers updating the engine as times go on to accommodate upscalers, bring in ray tracing. Now path tracing is a thing. Can you do that on it? That kind of stuff. Getting people up to speed who actually know how to use it is a big deal. We saw that with Halo when it came to the Slipspace engine. You know, like and when you trying to, you're wasting time teaching people how to use the engine before they even get to doing the work. If you just do Unreal, then you don't have those problems. But Playground does have those problems for both of those games. So like when Pong mentioned Forza, it hit me that like we haven't like Forza Horizon 5 was a couple years ago. Forza 6 is probably right around the corner. And if that's really right around the corner, I know there's completely two separate studios. It's two separate teams under Playground that are independently working on both games. But when you have engineers that Turn 10 has always been helping them, but Turn 10 has been downsized a little bit. When you have engineers that are basically trying to help both teams create their game, and you have a game engine that has only been used for racers. It has never been used in any capacity other than that. So when you're making a open world RPG where you need to have better animations, you need to have character models that are super detailed, you need to start like creating tools that developers would need to develop certain aspects of game design that you've never had to do before in that game engine. That stuff takes time. And so if anything comes out from Playground next year, it's more likely going to be their version of Forza Horizon Festival in Japan or something, or wherever the heck's country or region they're going to do it in, because that's just easier for them to do and takes less time to put together. I'm not saying it's easy, but far less time to put together than an action RPG like Fable. And so yeah, it was, and then you got marketing, even though Obsidian this year is doing Outer Worlds 2 and Grounded 2, which Grounded 2 has been fantastic starting out. But those are two smaller games
And Avowed.
compared to what, say again?
And
They
Avowed.
said Avowed, yeah, they dropped.
Oh
Avowed
yeah,
earlier this year.
So they did three
and
this year.
Avowed, right?
Yeah,
three. But you would probably think it wouldn't surprise me if the marketing for Forza or Fable by themselves superseded the marketing for all three of those games combined.
Probably,
Considering how big a game that like these games are going to be, and how like the amount of attention they would get compared, and that's no knock against Obsidian. Obsidian is fantastic. It's one of my favorite RPG devs. But just looking at like the popularity or the level of certain IPs and what Fable means to a lot of like Xbox gamers,
there's a difference.
and what Forza Horizon has been so successful doing for so long, it just seems like they will put more attention marketing into one of those titles, and therefore like to have like two of them coming out at the same time, like same year, I just can't see it. I feel like Fable will probably just get pushed to 2027.
Okay.
And I'm fine with that, because again, like I don't want incomplete or like rushed games to ever come out. So if it needs more time, give it whatever it needs, so that it is as close to the vision that the developers have for it as possible.
I agree. I think we all agree in that point. Nobody wants rush games. And that does lead to an interesting conversation about, I know we brought up, the initial conversation was about Gears E-Day, but just this pipeline that Xbox has, because that's the other thing. Where do we put all of this stuff, right? So that it makes sense for us as a huge company with this gigantic war chest full of games, because GTA comes out next year. that's going to leave a gigantic hole in the calendar. So what do you put around that,
Yep.
right? You kind of it's a odd year. It's a 25th anniversary. We got Grand Theft Auto coming out probably the same fucking month or a month before we're going to do our showcase. Like all these different things. We got a Switch last year. We got a new console coming out probably in a year after that. So like all these moving parts, and then like you said, you got this brand new, you got this IP that's made by a studio who's never made an RPG, and I think that's the coolest thing for me, because who knows, Slow Mo and Pong, maybe they can kill it and say, you know what, we don't need the extra time, we cooked, we're ready to go, we can drop this shit now. That can also happen too. So
Right.
just to
Very
see.
true.
Yeah, just to see how they handle it, because like I said, that was the biggest thing for me is handing them a game like Fable when they've never made anything but racing games is a very, very interesting proposition. That takes big, huge balls to say, you know what, let me hand this, well-loved franchise that hasn't been on console in 15 years. You know what I mean? And people love it, to a studio that's never made it. So we'll see. But Fuzz,
I've
let me
never
throw this
made
over to you.
any kind of game
Yeah.
like that, period.
Exactly right. So it's gonna be interesting to see. But Fuzz, where you at on this, brother? Gears 2026. I know we've talked about this many times, especially after the showcase this year. What Phil said, that I think that kind of helped us get a better timeline. But especially them updating their profile, bio, things like that. We know that doesn't always mean something, but sometimes it does.
I think it wouldn't have been updated if that wasn't the target or the intention. Like if they feel comfortable now that they're meeting their goals and things like that, as far as the deadlines and such, then I think that title update or that info or status update on social media for that dev team as well as for that title, that it's probably at least 90% sure that they're going to, unless like you guys said, something catastrophic comes up, that it would be on par to be released for 2026. Like before E-Day was even, what we were know, what the next Gears was going to be. And some of us were thinking Gears 6. I thought 26 was going to be the year of the sixes anyway. I figured Forza Horizon 6, Elder Scrolls 6, although that's probably even further out now. And then it would have been like Gear 6, and then lo and behold, Grand Theft Auto 6. But
that's an interesting number. Of 6 is there.
Yeah, like I figured 26 was going to be the year of the whole bunch of sixes and stuff. But yeah, I think E-Day does make it for the cut line for 2026. Fable is kind of that question mark. I think they can release it in 26, but then you're really talking about a really loaded year. Not that this year wasn't loaded for Xbox Studios to begin with, but all remasters or any remakes and stuff aside, because there's probably going to be something Fallout related at some point, and there'll probably be another title that I can't think of right now that's in a remake status somewhere, set for next year. But if you have Fable, if you have Forza Horizon 6, I mean, Clockwork Revolution does look like it's probably closer than anticipated.
Yeah, that's the other one.
So does that drop next year, or does that get pushed? I know that some other titles that were, believed to be coming up a little bit sooner, like Contraband, shelved for now or canceled or whatever.
State of Decay 3.
State of Decay 3. I think that might still be on track for 26. Like that's what I heard internally that it was targeting. There were some rumors that it actually was close to ready for this year, but they decided not to release it considering the banner year that they were having with the first party releases, and kind of hold it for this year or for next year. But State of Decay might be another title that winds up popping up. I don't know. I honestly think E-Day is a definite. We're still kind of wondering if there's anything Halo related, which
that tournament's coming up soon, where they're supposed to do that big announcement, or they have some announcement at that tournament, the Halo World Championships, I believe, right?
And a fan of this of the podcast, got to meet with the voice actor for Chief, and there is something that he's been working on. So I don't know how far out that is.
I didn't see that. Wow, that's cool.
I'll show you guys later. But I'm expecting Halo, something Halo next year, something Gears next year, something Forza, which I know, yeah, it's going to be the meme, Halo, Gears, and Forza. But for the 25th anniversary, I think everybody will kind of accept it and be okay with that.
Oh, it's
But
100% appropriate. It's 100% appropriate for the
yeah,
25th anniversary. Absolutely. Absolute perfect timing, I would say. I mean, obviously you would want the games to be in the best possible state. The
right.
Halo isn't necessarily, the franchise itself isn't necessarily in the best state right now as far as the public
Mhm.
opinion, but still, right? Those are the games that built what you are currently, they would these you wouldn't be 2026 if not for Halo, Gears, Forza, right? You wouldn't even made it
Yeah.
here.
But I'm not sure if it's going to be like a primary title for Halo. Whether it's a remaster or whether it's a spin-off kind of thing. Like I'm still got fingers crossed for like a whole flood horror kind of on the ring type of deal. But we'll see if that ever comes true. But yeah, I think Gears is definitely making an appearance next year. I think that update was them being pretty confident that they're going to meet their deadlines and everything has been on track or maybe even ahead of schedule so they could go that route, like just short of whatever date that they have on the calendar being filled by Grand Theft Auto and then possibly wanting to move it, although yeah, Gears is a strong enough IP, but I don't think anything is as strong as Grand Theft Auto these days. So I think everybody's going to give them plenty of room over there at Rockstar and stuff like that. So I think, we'll see it next year. Will it be before the June showcase or after? We'll see. I still think GTA gets pushed later in the year. I don't think they meet that May deadline, but I'd be happily proved wrong if if they can finally only have like only one delay from an ETA or time frame that they announced. Like I think GTA 5 saw either 2 or 3 delays, and I know 4 saw at least 2, and I think 3, if I can remember that far back, I think saw at least 1. So we'll see on that. But yeah, I think it'll be a Halo, Gears, and Forza year, even if Halo is a remaster. And yeah, I guess we can expect to see those tent poles next year.
Awesome. Okay. All right. So I got a question for you three, and as well as you two chat. So I know we're talking about Halo, Gears, Forza, Fable, right? The tent poles, the old IPs that really built Xbox. So got a quick question for you, gentlemen, as well as you two chat. So you guys can answer this too. So what are you? So if they handed you the keys and said, look, 2026 is coming up, right? It's a stacked year. We have to figure out our lineup. They give you those 4 games and I say, okay, what are we doing this year? 26. What are we doing 27? Where are you putting the games at? Like, what are you dropping in 26 and what are you pushing to 27? Now, this is, mind you, we're playing games here. We don't know all of the other variables and all the time it take minus that stuff. We're in a magic world here. We're in a fairy tale land. So if they just handed you the keys and said all these games are going to be ready very soon at a similar time, but which ones are we putting in what order? We'll start with you, Slow Mo. What are you dropping in 26?
Oh,
Those 4
man.
games, or what
Mhm.
what are you pushing to 27? Just for just shits and giggles sake.
Okay, so which
Halo,
games
Gears,
are
Forza, Fable.
Halo, Gears, Fable?
Forza, Fable, Gears, Halo.
I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do just for having the whole Halo, Gears, and Forza all in one year. I'll have those 3 in 2026, and then have Fable in 2027. Just so
Okay.
that like Fable isn't like then none of those games are stepping on Fable's toes, and then depending also you gotta kind of think about like when do you release, right?
That's what I'm saying.
Because
You
you
got a
don't want
a
things to
juggernaut
release too
that's
close.
gonna put a hole in the calendar.
Right. Like you
So
don't like. I kind of felt like Halo Infinite released too close to Forza Horizon 5. So I wouldn't want to make that kind of mistake again.
okay. All right, that's
So
a good. So go ahead.
so it also depends on what kind of Halo it is, right? So like we know Gears E-Day is a brand new game,
Mhm.
but I'm thinking like the Halo that they come out with is going to be like a remake. And so it being a remake is not quite as I'm not saying it's not important, but it doesn't get top billing like
Yeah.
a brand new game does. And
Yeah, like a
so
mainline.
I would want to do Halo, or especially considering like Halo's lights dimmed a little bit. I would want to do Halo earlier in the year, like try to get Halo out like in the first half of the year. And
Okay.
then have Gears as your holiday marquee title sometime in like October, November, and then do the typical Forza release in like September,
Okay.
August if you could push it, and then I would kind of like split it up that way, and then you have like the entire year to kind of like, hey, Fable, where we feel like it's super polished and ready to go, then we can release it anytime in 2027.
Like it. Pong, where you at on this, man? 4 games, Pong. Keys. Phil hands you the keys and said, where we putting these on the calendar, brother?
You know, really, I mean, I can't argue with slow-mo at all, but you know, to dare to be different here, yeah, I mean, you know, obviously, like I said, I can't argue with slow-mo because I think it's cool to have Halo, Gears, and Forza an anniversary year, right? I think that's dope. But to be different, I would drop next year. I would drop Gears and Forza next year and keep Halo and Fable until 2027. And I would let I would let Fable and Halo both cook. I would let them sit in the oven for as long as necessary. Those are both, in a lot of ways, Halo, we imagine, is going to be a reboot in a lot of ways. And so I give that team as much time as possible, even if it's a smaller project, because there's rumors that they're not going to have, you know, a
mainline
multiplayer.
Halo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever a multiplayer version, it's gonna be single player only if they drop the remake of the first Halo. But whatever project they're working on with Halo, I give it as much time as possible. But I think you bookend 2027 with Halo and Fable. I think that sets you up, and then next year you have, you know, Gears and Forza bookending. I think that's a beautiful 1-2 punch for the next 2 years. And again, doesn't really matter at this point since they're all going to go everywhere. No, it doesn't. But if you're Xbox, I think that sets you up. And then you've got all the games that you're going to have in between, because we know there's a lot more games than just those.
We just talk about Clockwork, right? Clockwork.
Yes.
K3,
that's what I'm saying. Even when, you know, even with the canceled games and all that kind of stuff, they have so many games in the works. But I think that's what I would do. I would even it out and have those 4 games split up between the 2 years.
Got it. Okay, so I'll go before Fuzz. So we're gonna save you for last, Fuzz. I'll go real quick. Man, that's controversial. They're not controversial, but I do like that idea. What would I start with, man? 2026, man. I think I'm gonna go Gears 2026. Like you said, a lot of it depends on the game, but if it's E-Day, Gears is gonna be 2026. And then I'll probably push Fable. Damn, what did I say? Gears, Halo, Forza, Fable, right? Is what I said. So Gears, for sure, 2026, and probably Halo 2026 as well too. If it's a smaller project, I'm kind of going the opposite of you on this one. I know you mentioned, Pong, that, you know, it's a new engine, so you want to give them time to, you know, work on it and make sure everything works right. But if it's not a mainline Halo, I'm okay with it being next year. I'm okay with it, you know, fall next year, late next year. If it's not a mainline Halo, it's just a really, really great remaster, which is fine. They just did Oblivion and it worked great. So they can do that with like a Halo 1 or something, if that's the rumor, then I'm cool with that. We can stick that at somewhere fall 2026. The other two, I'm pushing the next year though. Forza and Fable are probably going to be next year. To next year, 27. Sorry about that. So that's kind of where I would line things up on the calendar. Like you said, there's a bunch of other stuff in between. To stick in between all of that is going to make sense as well. So Fuzz, 4 games, brother. Phil hands you the keys and said, man, we got the whole calendar, bro. The next 2 years, where are we sticking these 4 games at?
Well, I'll start off with one of my favorites first. If it's possible to move it up, especially banking on Grand Theft Auto being delayed, I would want to put Forza Horizon 6 sometime in May or June, before the showcase, let's say, provided that GTA 6 is pushed sometime into fall. That would definitely be a way to kind of take over the summer, because that's the type of title that would be perfect for the summertime all the way through to the holidays. I agree with Slow-Mo on keeping Gears towards the holiday portion of 26. but it gets tougher when it comes to like Halo. Like if it is the smaller experience, like no multiplayer, single player story or remaster of some sort, I think you kind of start off the next year with that. That would be a great way to kind of kick off your 26th anniversary, and then have a lot of things be focused on Halo as far as whether it's skins or other games within the series. Like have a Halo, as silly as it's going to sound, have a Halo armor and grounded to some extent or something along those lines type of deal. And just play off of that for your anniversary year. Now, if it winds up being that it's a main line, like whatever is to come after Infinite, I say save it for 27, especially if you have new hardware. That's your launch title to go with the new hardware.
I didn't even consider that in 27. We will probably have new hardware. Damn.
Yeah, and I think Fable would be fine saving for 27 as well with new hardware. But then again, is the new hardware the beginning of 27, or is it going to be the holiday of 27? All of those moving pieces are probably the hard things to take into account. But yeah, if it was a mainline Halo, whatever is to come after Infinite, save it for 27. Have that be your selling point for the new hardware as well. But if it's a remaster or something like that, go ahead and do it as early as you can to kick off 26. So that way, it's the year of Halo, Gears, and Forza. I know that it may sound like a meme or whatever at that point, but hey, that's just going to be probably part, like I would say less than half of what they'll release for 26 in general, because they're still going to release a COD that year. We'll see how far along they are. I'm still waiting to see what the remaster is going to be as far as a Fallout. I'm pretty sure there'll be updates for Fallout 76 to coincide with the TV series and things like that. And you'll probably have something else from Bethesda as well. Although I wish it was a Wolfenstein or something along those lines, but I know that's further away than 26 or even probably 27 at this point. But yeah, that's how I'd kind of divvy it up. Provided hardware for 27. Halo goes with Fable for 27. But if it's a smaller experience, lead off the year in 26 with Halo, and then have the middle of the year Forza, and end the year right with Gears.
Nice. I love it. The cool thing about this is that like they can literally do any of this in any combination that they really want, and it would still probably be hugely successful. There's a lot of moving parts, but the fact that Xbox is this fucking stacked for the next few years is insane. Well, for the foreseeable future, to be honest with you. So great topic. Shout out to everybody watching, Bounty, Tim A, Mass, Big Lou, Psychonauts, everybody hanging out here. I greatly appreciate you guys, and hit the thumbs up button if you guys are enjoying the talk here, the podcast, man. But I want to move on to something that we've been talking about for years now. And it's something that I'm glad you're here, Slow-Mo, because I'd love to get your opinion on this, man. And it's actually Xbox's live service success. And there's two games I kind of want to highlight here. One being Grounded 2, the other one being Sea of Thieves. They're not the biggest games, right? Both started off as like small incubation projects, and turned into these massive games that now have massive followings and will probably be played for the next 5 to 10 years easily, right? So they've had success where a lot of other companies, unfortunately, have not had success being able to create these live service games. And I kind of want to give them a shout out. I believe Grounded 2 had over 3 million players after less than a month, I would say, which is massively successful. Sea of Thieves is probably upwards of how many? Chad, you guys got to help me out with Sea of Thieves, but it's probably 35, 40 million total players at this point for Sea of Thieves, which is insanely successful, especially in this day and age. So we're gonna start with you on this one, Slow-Mo. In a day and age where we see companies not, obviously live service gas, as they call them, is kind of a cuss word nowadays, unfortunately, with some gamers. They look at that as like the worst possible thing. I don't necessarily see live service games that way. When they work, you can literally eat off one game for the rest of your, forever, essentially, right? If it works the right way. That's why there's so few of them that are actually on the market that are successful. But where you at with just Xbox, Grounded 2, the success there, Sea of Thieves, with just their ability to make live service games?
I think I think they're on to something good with it, because I play a lot of multiplayer games, which turn out to be, I play a lot of gas games, a lot of games as a service games, and I've noticed the ones that fail seem to not quite understand the demographic that they're trying to market the game for, and then they focus on the wrong things, and when it comes out, they're shocked when either they don't get the level of attention at launch that they thought they got, or if they do get that, they don't have the longevity in order to make sure that it remains successful. So although I think Grounded 2 is having a great start, like when it comes to live service games, it's really not how you start, it's how you finish, and how where you are 6 to 8 months from now. So like this is like half the battle. Great that you started out this well. Now you gotta maintain a significant number of the people who are played in your game over the long term. Understand that some of them will fall off, as they tend to do. They're just some demographic of gamers that just like, I'm only gonna play this kind of game or these kind of games for a certain period of time. And then after that, I'm moving on to something else. Whereas you'll get like some of those gamers, and a lot of them are in the younger generation, that they look at these games as platforms, and they stick to that game, and they spend money in only that game, and they don't play anything else. And so if you can cultivate those people and get those people to stick around, that's where the game that you created that could have been made from one of the smallest teams that you have can end up the most successful game that you have in your portfolio. And I think with Sea of Thieves provided something that no one else had at the time. And I think that's important, because you don't want to just, I'm just going to make a clone of this other successful live service game. Well, then why are the people who play that game going to stop playing their game to play your game? You got to have something there to draw people in, to keep people there. You look at Marvel Rivals, essentially it's Overwatch in third person.
Marvel characters.
Yeah.
Marvel characters help.
And why? Yeah, Marvel characters. And also, NetEase understood the demographic, the market, and people may get Fuzzy probably knows where I'm about to go with this. People may get upset, but the Gooner effect when it comes to hero shooters is king. And frankly, we've seen 2 hero shooters that actually weren't really bad games when you play them, but they completely bombed: Bleeding Edge and Concord. Both of these hero shooters played well. I played both of them. I thought they were decent games at the very least. Deserved a little bit more time. I've played worse, right? One thing both those games had in common were absolutely hideous and unattractive characters. Hero shooters, people who like hero shooters love those games. They love the gameplay, and each match should be different. So there's a certain level of dynamic dynamic gameplay happening here, regardless of the fact it's the same modes with the same maps, with the same characters, but you got to learn the characters because they all play differently. And so that adds more replayability. But what really is telling about those games, when Overwatch was marketed, what did we see everywhere for the game?
Tracer.
We saw Tracer, we saw Mercy, we saw Widowmaker, we saw all of the anime looking titties hanging out women, right? But then you play the game and you're like, man, that Roadhog is a great tank. But when did you see Roadhog? After you played the game, because they ain't putting Roadhog on the cover of anything. Where were the marketable characters for Concord and Bleeding Edge? Like, there aren't really any. They may have had 1 or 2, but that's just not enough. And so you really have to kind of understand the market that you're in and understand what you're pitching. Now, Sea of Thieves had kind of like a slow start. Started out
very slow
no content in that game whatsoever. Beautiful water. That's about it. You kicking chickens and fighting skeletons.
The whole idea, that childlike pirate though, that nostalgia, that childlike idea of being a pirate, they had that going for it too, which in of itself is a like superpower, right? You're able to capture that child, you know what I mean? Like most people don't, you
Yeah.
don't, and on top of the fact that there's no pirate game like that at all on the market at all. So there's really no competition. And then it gives you like this childlike feel as well too. So they had a formula. Now it wasn't as like obvious, but that helped a lot when it came to, because you're right. The first year and a half, 2 years, that game was bare bones. Like there was very little content to none.
Yeah. But yeah, and I'm seeing in the chat like Fuzzy saying, like Grind is not a live service game. That's true. It's not a live service game. It doesn't really have the same like monetization format. But
yeah, I just meant
it is a game that the developers intended for people to continue to keep playing it. And
the community's building it along the way with the developers as well, much like a live service game. As they play and preview, they get direct feedback from the community, and they absolutely change things in the game. So in that way, it is kind of live service-y. Go ahead, Slomo, my bad.
Yeah. Now with Sea of Thieves, they listen to the community and to figure out what they wanted from it, and started to build out those things. I would say very quickly, considering how game development is, in order to accommodate what the community was looking for. And then it became one of those games that was very fortunate to have a big streamer or a few big streamers latch onto it at the perfect opportunity, so that like they introduced this game to their community, who typically, like typical big streamers, they play whatever their big streamer is playing. And so this cultivated like a community of Sea of Thieves players that are continue to be there now. Like that's something that you want in any game, that you and instead of calling it live service, let's call it ongoing games, okay? Because it's games where you don't necessarily, it's not like you just release the game, you do a couple of patches, and then you move on to your next project. You release the game, you're doing DLC, you're doing updates, you're finding ways to keep the community engaged. You actually care about that community continuing to play the game 2 or 3 years from now. Like you could say in a way, Cyberpunk has kind of become that, right? Cyberpunk still doing updates. They've now outsourced that to a completely different developer, that's actually the same developer that did the remake for Oblivion, Virtuous. Virtuous is handling all the Cyberpunk's additional updates, and they're adding little things, and they are bringing back the 2 DLCs they canceled when the game launched in a poor state. They're bringing those back, and Virtuous is putting those out into, eventually as paid DLC in the game. Like this is kind of like how when you have a community of gamers that are constantly playing your game, whether it's a multiplayer game with no live service capability or a single player game, it is learning how to cultivate that community to generate more revenue off the game, and really kind of help that game become self-sustaining, so that whatever you want to do for it going forward, you're going to hear, you're not going to get pushback from leadership saying, hey, don't do that, that's going to cost too much, don't do that, who's that for, who's going to play that? They already know who's going to play that, because you got the numbers that show these are the people that are going to play that, because they're still playing the game right now without that content. So I think Microsoft is much better at that than, say, like the other 2 platforms in the console arena. Definitely better than PlayStation, better than Nintendo in that regard. I think when it comes to anyone that's going to make live service in the future, they got to understand what their demographic is once again, and they got to make something that people can't get anywhere else. If you're making something that is just like run of the mill, and it doesn't have like the Marvel license on it, you're just not going to work. It's not going to work. X Defiant started out with 10 million players in a week. 10 million in a week. That game didn't last a year.
Yeah, it's rough out there in them streets, man.
It is
Especially in them
really
live
rough
service
out
streets.
there.
It's tough. You
Yeah.
gotta be unique, man. So that's a great point, Slow-Mo. And I want to throw this over to you, Pong, because Pong, this is something we've been talking about for a very long time. And we see companies try, you know what I mean? It's a very high risk, high reward type of game. And out, like we mentioned, these aren't traditional live service games like you would think with battle passes and things like that, but they function like live service games. But and Xbox has been able to capture, they've been able to figure out that formula. Now it takes a lot of trial and error. For every Sea of Thieves, there is a bleeding edge. There's probably 3 or 4 bleeding edges. So it does take some time. It does take trial and error to get it right. But they've seemed to be able to take these small teams with these cool ass ideas. Think of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Think of like Pirates, and be able to like make something that'll last. And they've been able to cultivate that. So just their ability to do that versus, you know, some of the other companies that have not been able to do that, Pong. Just, you know, how are they able to whip that sauce up?
Oh, a whole lot of luck.
There's that too. There's that too.
There is a lot. There is a lot of that, especially in this day and age with the competition. Right? You never know. You never know what's going to be successful. You never know what's going to click with a large enough group of people that you know, can sustain one of these games. You know, you could do all the, you know, forecasting and crystal ball and, you know, tea leaf reading that you want to. You can think that you have everything in place, all the right ingredients to capture people's attention, and it could still flop. Right? There is a lot to that genre or to that space. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think, you know, what I've said all along, and this was my argument, or I should say, you know, whether you're calling it as an argument or just a critique of what Sony was trying to do with a lot of their games as a service. I said all along, why does everything have to be so massive out the gate when we're talking about these games as a service? And one of my points was Grounded, as a perfect example, as a way to do things. I also brought up, and it's not a, you know, games as a service, but it's a well publicized, massively successful game that used the community to build around it, and that was Baldur's Gate 3 with Larian. And I think that all these examples were out there for, you know, to be followed. And I think that if you take a small team and you start on a project and you release it into early access, you give yourself a great opportunity to find out whether or not you've got something or whether you don't have anything at all, and it's time to either A, go back to the books, much like they did with Sea of Thieves, and recreate, reinvent, or if it's just time to shutter and say, hey, moving on to the next project. And I don't know why other studios or other devs or other publishers haven't figured this kind of formula out, because I think it can be done in multiple stages. It can be done in multiple ways. There's not a one-size-fits-all cookie cutter per se, depending on the type of game you're trying to build and what kind of team you have. But I don't think it has to be this high-risk proposition where you wind up canceling, you know, 11 out of 12 games as a service. Okay. I don't think it, and I don't think it has to be something where you took one of your best dev studios in the entire, you know, what people consider in the entire world, one of your best dev studios, you know, and start a multiplayer project with a fantastic franchise with all the advantages that you could possibly ask for, and work on it for 4 or 5 years and drop who knows how many hundreds of millions of dollars into that project, and then just say, yeah, it just ain't gonna work. We didn't know it was gonna take this much to support it, and then just, you know, cancel it like they did with Factions. I think there's been enough examples by 2025 now of different ways of going about creating a game like this that I think that you can find the right way or the right group of ingredients to make it work. And I think Microsoft, Xbox has done that very well with their teams. I think their teams leading the way, Obsidian and obviously Rare was an early example, although that was very close to being, you know, canceled. It was just, you know, it was very close, but they didn't, right? Yeah. But I think that they have that communication, and they've obviously got the trust in the devs to decide what's doing it. But I think Grounded is the perfect current day example of what you would let's just put it this way. What I would do as somebody from the complete outside without any boardroom knowledge, I would look at Grounded and what they did with that team and say, hey, if we're going to try to create something in like this, a games as a service or a live service game, let's do it the way that Obsidian and their team did. Let's create a small project. Let's release it into early access. Let's build around the community and see what the community is saying. They will let us know up front whether or not we've got something, even if it's not right, perfect. If enough people are paying attention to it and saying, hey, we really want to play this freaking game, but we got to fix this, well, then you've got something. And I think that that's what I would personally do if I was trying to do this nowadays. And I don't know why more people have not picked up on this way of going about it. But again, it's a very, very, very lucrative space if you can find your way into it, right? That's why we see this. And to Slow-Mo's point, there are a couple ingredients that certainly give you advantages up front. Even if you're creating a brand new IP, the East has shown ways forward as well. Yeah,
Bring on the cities.
correct. Sex sells. It always has, man. Again, society can rail against it all they freaking want to. Good-looking people sell shit. Okay, period, point blank, end of story. Right? So make that happen. Anyways,
Stellar Blade's story makes no sense.
but it's still good.
It's a successful
Combat's
game.
Combat's
Combat's great. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They leaned into it, Slow-Mo, like you were talking about. They leaned into what they knew they had that people were going to be drawn to, but they also created a good game. And when people actually started playing that game, that's why I hate the Gooner talk around it. Yes, it was a part of their marketing, but listen, that's actually a really good game. And people found out that was a really good game, and that's why it's had such long legs. That's why it didn't just, all the Gooners went out and bought it.
Is that a lot of people probably wouldn't even realize it was a good game if it was if the Gooner stuff wasn't in there.
Yeah,
correct.
It works hand in hand.
It's a part of the process.
Yes.
You got
and how else were they going to do it? They were a mobile game developer, right?
I mean,
they were making their first big project, right? They had to do something to grab people's attention. They did that, and then prove they could make it.
I said
bring on the piper. No, bring on the. Bring them out.
To pay the piper in titties. That's what they had to do.
Hey, it is what it is. So to kind of get back on track here, that's a great point. Absolutely great point. So the other thing too, Pong, and you and Slow-Mo brought this up. Now it's not a fucking exact science. It's extremely hard. That's why there are so very few. But it will be great if you have a fucking compelling idea too. Something that maybe nobody else has thought of. Because look, people think of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids all the time. It's a great franchise, but nobody actually made a video game. Nobody actually said, you know what? That's a great idea. Let's just try and make a game based off that. Try to make a survival game.
Yeah.
Same thing with
survival
Sea of
game,
Thieves.
right?
Yeah, same thing with Sea of Thieves. Like people love pirates. What is it? Captain Jack Sparrow, $1 billion franchise, Pirates of the Caribbean. People love pirates. There's a nostalgia around pirates. We all wanted to be pirates as kids, but nobody makes pirate video games.
Tell that to Skull and Bones.
Well, that's a quadruple A game. Hold on now, buddy. You need to calm down. That's a quadruple A game.
No,
over there.
that was called overthinking.
The idea of Skull and Bones from Sea of Thieves.
Sort of, but Slow-Mo,
I thought that was the Assassin's Creed.
It was Black Flag.
Yeah, the
Black Flag.
Yeah.
They knew that they had something with Black Flag, right? Because so many people were asking them, Slow-Mo, to make a pirate game. Just give us Black Flag. Just give us the ship battles like all the time. Just do that for a long time. So they knew they had something there. Obviously, Sea of Thieves probably helped push it a little bit since Ubisoft wanted the golden goose that was going to make them, oodles of money, but they overthought it instead of doing just what people asked.
Do you think if Sea of Thieves didn't exist, that they wouldn't have gone ahead? Like I can see Sea of Thieves being the cat, the push. Like they throw, like a lot of people really enjoy Black Flag and the water aspects, but we can't make a full game off of that. And then Sea of Thieves comes out and they go,
well, Sea of Thieves.
We can make a full game. Off
there's two opposite ends of the spectrum though. One's like a kid's cartoon, the other one is like Watch Dogs, right? Well, the other one's supposed to be realistic and you know what I mean, like high budget, like I don't know. I mean, they are pirate games. That
I
is
mean,
true.
look, I've never played.
Oh.
Darn it.
Skull and Bones.
Ubisoft
Skull and Bones.
one. Skull and
Yeah,
Bones.
yeah, Skull Bones.
Skull
Yeah.
and Bones,
But
yeah.
wasn't in the beginning you couldn't even get off the boat?
Yeah, you couldn't. I
Yeah.
don't know if you could get off the boat.
You still can't. Oh, I mean, you can't do it in the most important part, which is what everybody wanted, was the ship-to-ship battle. See, that's the
Right.
part that they that's the ingredient that they didn't look at with Sea of Thieves was, you can
God.
actually get on other ships and take over other ships. Oh, that's a big part of being a pirate, right? Look at any pirate movie was, going ship to ship and swashbuckling. Oh, but we're just going to leave that out and give you big ships that you can control, and then you can get off on land and do some shopping if you really want to. They kind of missed
Did
that.
that game take like 5,000 years to come out?
8 years
And didn't
specifically.
even have
8.
that.
It's crazy. It's insane.
It's because of Eves with trying to make it
Yeah.
all the what do you call it, microtransactions and stuff. How can we make this make money for us? To just make the game and sell it, and people would have bought the game and played it, and it would have probably been one of their bigger hits. But no, they wasted all that time, borrowed that money from I forget what government and stuff. But yeah, they took all that time making the game, and like Pong said, they overthought it. They bloated it with stuff that people didn't want as opposed to the stuff that people did want. I mean, it's like making the Crew where you just you set something on the map to go to this drive point, but then you fast travel there as opposed to driving the car. They completely missed the whole point of what people are asking.
Yeah, I kind of want to
That's
drive
a
the
great
car.
goddamn analogy, Fuzz. No, and just to kind of lead you into that one, Fuzz, to kind of get your take. I know you haven't gotten a chance to talk here on this, but just what we've been talking about, right? The idea that Xbox has been able to do this. Now, they don't do it every time. They don't.
Yeah.
I mean, not every game makes it. Like I said, for every one Sea of Thieves, for every one Grounded, there's about 4 or 5 other games that don't make it, right? That are probably in incubation, that maybe don't even make it off the piece of paper or dry erase board, right? So there's a lot of other games that don't make it, but they have been able to do it at a way higher rate than the other two. Now, Nintendo doesn't really make live service games. Let's be honest. Well, they do, but kind of in their own way. But yeah, PlayStation has been extremely unsuccessful. They have not gotten one off the ground. So what is it that Xbox is able to, what is it they're able to do? How is it they're able to capture that?
Well, my view on this may change more recently based on some of the moves that they made more recently, but I would say it's because Xbox is willing to take a risk, and if something doesn't quite hit the mark, they were willing to spend more time kind of fixing it, whether it's in the early access or continuing to support it, listen to the community, make updates and changes. They did that for Halo with the free to play when they kind of ran out of season content real early. They had all of the the basics down, but they didn't really have things in place for the follow-up seasons, or at least at the ready, and they kind of figured, oh, we'll fix it as we go, and they kind of brought them some bad press on that. But all in all, they finally got the ball rolling, and things are at least a good bit better as far as content availability now with that. With Sea of Thieves, that was one where they kind of put it out there. It was probably one of those passion project type of things that they were willing to allow Rare go ahead and do. And at first it hit well as far as for what people were looking to do, but then content level wasn't quite where a lot of people were expecting, but they stuck with it and kept on, doing new things, new creatures, new missions and stuff like that. Listening to the community, it definitely helped. The early access with Grounded, that is a prime example, kind of like what Pong is saying. Like, I'm not sure why they don't test more things this way. And looking over at the other platform, like with Sony, just for a brief moment, with the whole thing on factions, I really wish they would have let that one fly in early access as it was, as long as there was some level of content to be able to, I guess, shoot other players and stuff. So that way they had the exact look of what people were looking for with the day before, which was like a cross between The Last of Us and The Division. And that game wasn't vaporware. It was a lot more, put together than vaporware, but it was definitely not what was initially shown. And when they were trying to say it was an extraction shooter, with it not really being the greatest setup for extraction, I think they could have come in there, released it in early access, let the community give them feedback, probably had something to build off of Although I guess the big drawback would have been building up, Naughty Dog to have multiple teams, one that is just going to be solely dedicated to managing and maintaining the content for that online purpose, or for the multiplayer / live service purpose, and while the core of the team continues to do the single player stuff. But at least from what I've seen, it just looks like Xbox is willing to take more risks. To some extent, they're kind of like Ubisoft in that regard. Ubisoft will stick behind something if it doesn't stick the landing out the gate. They'll mess with it for a bit, and then it might seem like it takes them forever to cut ties. Like it took them a good bit of time, and they've still stuck with For Honor. Rainbow Six was that one that what really showed that sticking with a game and working through some of the community gripes and things paid off. They stuck with the second what do you call them, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which didn't quite stick the landing as well as Wildlands did, but they stuck with it. They eventually brought the AI companions back and a lot of other things that people enjoyed from Wildlands into it. But yeah, I just think it's their key to success on those live service games has been stick-to-itiveness, willing to take a risk. I mean, they took a risk with Bleeding Edge. Yeah, it suffered because it didn't have the most appealing characters, but I still hold out hope one of these days that some of those characters make it into like Killer Instinct or something like that, because the one like samurai guy would definitely be something good for Killer Instinct. But I don't know. I hope more teams pay attention to that stick-to-itiveness, but then it's still look at the basic stuff as far as what sells. Like Bong said, sex sells, and that's the case in almost every market, whether it's video games, movies, cars, clothing, whatever. It definitely catches your attention. Now, it may catch some of the wrong people's attention in regards to protests and whatnot, but more times than not, you usually wind up catching more of your core audience or what your intended audience was, and that usually outweighs or noises the ones that are protesting against it. I mean, we've seen other games that have had protests and did extremely well, although Harry Potter is its own kind of thing as far as the popularity of that franchise. But yeah, I would love to see Xbox try a not really a Smash Brothers, but maybe a Mario Kart type game in early access, or bring back Killer Instinct, where you have more of your IP characters and things like that. So hopefully they continue to go with the not being risk adverse, but it seems as if now that might not be as much the case currently with some recent cancellation. But all in all, considering how much they got going on as far as different studios and teams working on different things, I think they just kind of got caught off guard with not necessarily expecting, although I don't know why they didn't, expecting Fallout to do as well as it did for the TV series. And maybe they put more of their hope and anticipation into the Halo one, but I think that got picked up by Netflix now, so we'll see when that makes a comeback as far as being on Netflix, if that helps any of their ambitions again with like a battle royale or anything else more Halo related or Halo centric at that point. But yeah, Xbox just seems like they're willing to take risks. Ubisoft similar, but I just wish Yves was out of the picture. I think that's always been my biggest gripe, and I kind of wish we could go back and see what Vivendi was trying to do and maybe cheer that on. I mean, not that they were the greatest either, and I think they eventually get rolled into Activision at some point.
I think so.
But yeah, I think had that takeover happen, maybe. Well, I'm pretty sure we would have still had a Division 1 and 2, and maybe we would have had a Division 3 sooner, and maybe the team wouldn't. Maybe Ubisoft, with having so many different teams and developers, maybe they could still do Outlaws and then Outlaws 2 and stuff like that. Just don't use Massive for it. Leave them for Division only kind of thing. But yeah, that's just my take on it.
Okay. Well, no,
I agree with that, especially the Division. Like, let Massive just make their own games, please.
Yeah, please.
Please, thank you.
So that's just PTSD right there, slow mo with the Division and Massive and Ubisoft, man. I don't even want to. We're in a good space now, as a Division fan. I'm in a much better space, more mental health as far as that
Right,
goes.
they
But
got that they got that mode that's being tested in the public test server right now, and then there is also supposedly new content that's going to be shown at Gamescom. So
so we'll see. We'll see
fingers
what
crossed
happens.
on that.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But yeah,
Survival
I think
2.0?
possibly they did show the snow. I mean, could it just be weather? Could it be new mode? Hopefully both. God damn it! I hope both.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. But I think the cool thing with you guys, I think we all agree too. At the end of the day, it takes a lot of things working in your favor, right? It takes a lot of luck, like Pong mentioned. But it also takes you understanding the people that you are hiring and saying, hey, here's this idea. We like the idea. Go ahead and do that. Allow the anonymity, allow them to just go on, incubate the idea and do what they need to do. And it doesn't always work right away. It's a slow burn sometimes. We mentioned Sea of Thieves. Grounded didn't necessarily get off to the best start as well, too. But another thing, too, and I know, Slow-Mo, you mentioned this, and this is the biggest thing, I think, with these kinds of games, the community has to be first and they have to be involved. Because that's the only way the game is going to last. Because, like you said, Sea of Thieves went through a period where there was nothing going on in that game. Like there was barely any content. Look at the water. I'm just going to take screenshots of the water. Beautiful water, guys. Look at those coconuts, but look at that water. Like that's all that was going on. But they had something, they had enough to capture people and hold on and say, okay, there's other things coming though. Then they started to build on that. So it's a really good idea, but it's very, very difficult to execute. As you can see, is why we don't have as many as we probably should. But yeah, let's move on to something else. We kind of got the main topics out of the way. I know this might be the 4th week in a row, but we do got to talk about some Battlefield stuff, Pong. And I do want to bring this up, and I'm going to start with you on this one, Pong, because you are a resident. Well, I don't know, Slomo. You might be super Battlefield guy, too. I'm not sure. But, Pong, I've seen the friction in the community about this new, the recent beta, and not about the gameplay or anything like that. I know there's some things that they're working out there, but mainly the maps. And the lack of large maps, and people are not necessarily happy with that. Although it is a beta, right? And we understand that these are just testing things out. But I'll throw some things out there, and you let me know yay or nay. Just some things I've heard, Pong, and then we'll get to everybody else as well. One being, now I don't know how true this is. People are saying that they're catering a little more to the Call of Duty community on purpose. By introducing just smaller, middle-sized maps. The gameplay, I have only played 5 or 6 matches. It does feel a bit more speedy. The TTK, time to kill, is a little lower than I remember from Battlefields. The maps do lend itself in the 3-lane highway. Let's be honest, that's COD, right? That's a COD formula. Middle, well, kind of, right? 3-lane highway.
But the destruction takes out that right away.
True.
So.
That does change things quite a bit. But I mean, for majority of the game, you're going to be using those 3 highways mostly.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is there's that. And then obviously there's a lot of people that think for whatever reason that this is crazy to me. Some people generally think that there are not going to be any large maps, which is insane to me. They're obviously going to be. I think they've even showed the maps. I don't know in their full totality, but they've shown what the list of maps that they're going to have, and a handful of those are going to be very large. But where are you at just on the beta, on some of the things I mentioned as far as like map issues?
Yeah, it stands out in Rush for me.
That's the one. That's the caveat I missed, because Rush was really the one people were saying.
Yeah, here's the deal. Old school Battlefield fans in Rush have a beloved history, especially going back to Bad Company 2 and then Battlefield 3, where they really perfected Rush. And Rush was the main mode that most people played Battlefield for. It was a standout mode. And back then they built the maps around Rush because that was the mode, right? And so they built the maps from the ground up. That lost luster as things progressed from Battlefield 4 and on, to the point where Rush was an afterthought, and it disappeared for a while. And it's a little bit of a hard situation for Zampella and his team, because now you have Breakthrough and Conquest, and both of those are basically variations of Rush in a lot of ways. And then you've got to try to bring back Rush, because of course you told everybody that you were going to bring back classic Battlefield. The problem being is they brought it down to 12v12, Okay, that's horrible. Okay, that's not Rush. Okay, at all. Rush was big maps. Rush was all-out warfare.
Multiple islands, not just big maps.
Correct, sir.
Yeah,
Correct,
you had
sir.
maps that were islands. You had to
Right.
take a boat to the next area.
Correct, sir. This is what we all remember as Rush, and this is where we had our best memories of Rush. So what they've done here is, again, they have not developed these maps around Rush. So what they're doing is they dropped it down to 12v12, and then they're cutting out a little piece of each of these already created maps and plopping 2 points on to them as Rush points. This is, you can feel it. Is it horrible? No, it's not horrible.
No, it's
but
not.
would I rather play at this point Breakthrough or Conquest? Yes, I would. And I think that is a major problem that they're going to have to fix. Now, this is a beta. They're trying things out. They're doing different things. We also have Portal. That this could be alleviated if this game it maintains its popularity and comes into launch and it is a massive success. That means there's going to be a community of people creating through Portal, which looks like it's going to be extensive in its abilities to create custom games and maps and all modes and all sorts of things. There will be a large group of fans, old school Battle fans, who go in there and create customized Rush maps, right? And so we might have a problem fixed before it even becomes a massive issue. However, I do think they need to work on this. As far as the map size goes, yes, all they've shown us is small to medium-sized maps at this point. We need large maps. That is a big part of Battlefield, and it always has been. So,
quick question before you finish. Quick question.
Yep.
Is it absolutely, because some people are worried that we're not going to get to try a large map in the beta at all. We're not going to get a chance to do that.
Yeah, we're not.
Is that a red flag?
No, because because I think this falls in line with something that I suggested a long time ago when we started talking about Battlefield. I said they're only going to have 9 maps at launch, right? Which in this day and age is a small amount of maps, okay? And now, obviously, with the different modes and how they break them up, obviously, you get different variations, all that good stuff. But I said all along that if Zempella and his team are going to bring back Battlefield and they need to start small with a small selection of maps, go ahead and do that. Just make them the best damn maps in the world, right? And I think what they're trying to do in a lot of ways, I think we're going to get 1 or 2 large maps out of those 9. I think we've seen 4 total in the beta, right? So I think there's still 5 left. I think 1 to 2 of those will be large maps. And they've already confirmed that there is large maps, right? So I'm not worried. So, but I think that what they are trying to do is perfect what they are putting out to us so that when it launches, it is going to be the best experience that it possibly can be, and keep that hype going, and that they will have time to build out as many maps. There are so many classic maps they can bring in. There is so much. I don't know if you guys saw, by the way, too, this kind of leads into it. There is a glitch that somebody can use where they drive onto a spawn point for one of the other Jeeps and it launches them into space. I know Fuzzy saw it in the DMs when I posted it in there, but it launches them extremely high in the air. They have the entire map built out. Okay, the map is built out because they're going to bring in the Battle Royale. Don't forget the Battle Royale is coming, which is going to be a huge map. Yeah. The person's flying, they could see buildings like 5,000 meters away, and there's water and there's everything. Right now, we aren't getting water. We're not getting boats. I know for a fact that they're going to bring that stuff in. That is Battlefield. This is going to be the complete experience this time around. So I think that this is just them getting a smaller selection of maps, a smaller selection of vehicles down right and playing well, and then launching it, and then, obviously getting over that first hurdle, which Battlefield has not been able to do over the past decade, which is having a smooth launch, right? I'm not expecting it to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm just saying a smooth launch that absolutely blows the last decade and a half out of the water for Battlefield launches. And then from there, Zempella and his team can grow because, again, this is a games of service. It's a live service game. They will be able to expand the maps. They will be able to do all this stuff. So I think that it is a fair criticism, though. Rush is a fair criticism. 12v12 does not feel good. Okay, it just doesn't. And the way that they've haphazardly placed the rush points on the map, especially Iberia, knowing full well that if you are going to make your attackers play on the downside and play uphill in rush when Iberia has a sniper's heaven built into it, that is going to be a problem. And then on top of that, what they also did in that specific instance is if you get to and destroy the first 2 points on rush, then what happens is they move the points forward about 200 yards, 300 yards, but they start you all the way back at headquarters. They don't move you up again. So you have to spawn all the way back at headquarters, cover the initial ground again, and then another 200-300 yards to the next set of rush points. That makes it doubly hard in that map specifically. So they've got some work to do there for sure. So I think it is a fair criticism right now.
Awesome. Okay, good point. And then I wanted to bring this up specifically because, like I said, I've been seeing this, and I know that I know that they got they have just for my 4, 5, or 6 games that I played, it feels good. And I think that matters the most for a shooter.
Yes.
If it feels great, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
As long as it feels good to play,
Gunplay.
That's the main component. Gunplay.
Yeah,
is
shout out Slow Mo real quick though. Slow Mo, I did see your video of the you picking up the LMG for the first time and laying it down a little bit. Yeah, brother. I'm an LMG fan, so it was good to see you say, oh shit, what is this gun? I need to know. There's some really good gunplay.
After I was done playing with Forte, I spent a good hour and a half trying to like looking over
Rebuild
my
it?
footage.
Yeah.
So I can rebuild the exact loadout that guy had with that gun. Because when I got the gun, I was like, this don't feel the same.
LMGs need attachments, brother. They are
definitely
definitely.
need.
And then I started looking at the gun in detail. I'm like pausing, speed up 2 seconds, pause. Okay. So it didn't have the drum.
Nice.
It had the record. Okay. Then speed up a little bit. Is that a muzzle? That's a muzzle. Okay. What scope was that? I'm literally doing all the details. And when I finally got it right, I was like, you know what?
Take some tweaking, man. Hey, that's a beautiful thing.
And now I got 2 different loadouts for that. I got the close map loadout for it, where I use it exactly the way that guy had it, and then I use it where it's got the long
range.
The long range barrel, so that I could actually in a different scope. So because when I'm like literally just zooming in on people.
You can lay down
distance away.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a huge Battlefield guy. I've enjoyed Battlefield, but I'm more of like a Halo and Call of Duty. And I would say Splitgate. Actually, I play all shooters, so I jump in on everything, and I play it. I'm not like heavy on most of them, but when I really something gets the hooks into me, I'm on it. And maybe for the past 2 or 3 years, I've been on Call of Duty heavy, probably like since Modern Warfare 2, 3. And then Black Ops 6, I've been like that's been the shooters I've been playing the most. So I always find it interesting, and I was like really enjoying Pong really like getting into detail about it, because I like listening to Battlefield guys talk about Battlefield because it's so different than Call of Duty. It's it's like and it's like the people who don't play shooters. They get into this whole like, what's Call of Duty gonna do this year? Call of Duty's gonna do what Call of Duty
fine. Yeah, like get out of here, bro. We've been doing this forever. Like
it's a different game. Like the people who love Battlefield don't care about COD, and the people who love COD don't care about Battlefield.
Oil and water, brother.
Markets. Yeah, both games can be successful at the same time.
Both games can be trash at the same time. We've seen both instances.
Yeah, exactly. So you're gonna get some people who are playing Battlefield 6 when it launches for the month that it's gonna launch before Call of Duty comes out, and they're gonna go back to their tried and true Call of Duty because it's what they do. Sure. But like I love hearing people like speak about Battlefield in detail, because for me it's like I jump in it. I hate vehicles, so I'm like, where are the modes? Team deathmatch, there we go. Like I'm like like in the beta close quarters. Heresy. I have lived in close quarters. Like, that's all I'm doing. the vehicles away
hell?
from me. I don't want none of that's as soon as I see a tank, I'm like, nah, fam, I'm going over here.
good.
Let me
You
go-
lucky.
let me go
You're
pick
lucky.
off these-
You lucky. Can you run your own player over? Because if you could, Pong would probably kill you every single time on purpose.
I cast thee back to Call of Duty, Slow Mo. Get out my game, all right, bro?
He wouldn't find me because he would not catch me dead on any of the maps with them vehicles. I used to like in 2042. I'm like, hey, look, I'm loving this, and Forte is a huge Battlefield guy too. So Forte was always basically like, come on, man, let's play. Look, I played COD with you 2 or 3 nights. Come on, play Battlefield with me. I'm like, all right, the guilt trip gets me. So then I'm playing and I'm having a good time, but then like I see like a freaking chopper come in and just like destroy everybody on the rooftop, and I'm like,
But even Slow Mo, even as somebody who may not appreciate the vehicle, you got to appreciate the cinematic experience that Battlefield gives you moment to moment, bro.
Yo,
like there's nothing like it.
It is great, and it is like I don't want that to change. Just because I don't care for it doesn't mean it's like
Correct.
Oh,
That's the
take that
correct
stuff.
answer.
Like there's people who act like everything has to cater to them.
No.
Oh, I don't like vehicles, therefore this game shouldn't have vehicles. No, you're not that important, Snowflake. Go over in the corner somewhere. Like people like that is a part of the identity of the game, and therefore like no one else really does it better than them. When they drop and they have it done well, like this is what people are looking for. And for like for
it's
me,
the standard. It's the standard. That's why it's been around for so long.
Yeah. And I played this weekend. I probably played more matches this weekend than I did last weekend. I did pretty well last weekend. I feel like I've done even better this weekend just because I got I'm more familiar with gunplay. I'm more familiar with the guns. I've unlocked a lot, like fully leveled up the guns. I got all the attachments that I've been testing what I want to play with. And so now, and I'm knowing the maps better. So I'm just, I'm having a ball. As I'm just killing people left and right, and I'm loving it. I did have noticed that like the shotguns, somebody gotta do something about.
They're gonna nerf it.
They already talked. That's Modern Warfare 2 level of 1887 pre-patch 1887. You remember those? You remember those Slow Mo? The pre-patch. Oh my! You were sniping people with those things. It's insane, bro. Dual wielding too.
Like, and so you know how they show you where on the body you got hit, and then they show you like where the person was that hit you, and then I get killed. I'm like, dang, was that a sniper? And then I'm there on the ground, and I go look up, and I'm like, oh wow, that the range on that, okay. And then I look at what he killed me with, and I'm like, ain't no way, man, a shotgun from that range, 100% damage. Get the like, so that's gotta get nerfed. Apparently, they introduced a bug with this weekend's beta where if you slide, I play Call of Duty, so sliding. Look, I don't know, maybe we all got ADHD or something, but we don't just run. We run and then we slide and then we jump up and then we run, slide, jump, slide. That's what we do, right? So I had to kind of unlearn doing some of that as I've been playing. Because apparently there's a bug where if you slide in a particular way, you get like crazy bloom on your shooting. And so you have to do the slide again to undo the bloom bug. And it's just like, so I kind of noticed something when I slid and came out of a slide, jumped, and then tried to shoot someone, and I was aiming at like the ceiling. I was like, oh, so maybe that's what they were talking about. So there's some bugs that got to get worked out, but this is nowhere near as bad as like 2042 bugs where there was hit detection issues, there was desync issues, there was all kinds of stuff going on. They didn't have a scoreboard at launch. Like, it's not that bad. It's just that there's some things that I hope they clean up, as well as some visual glitches on PC. Like sometimes I'll be, I'm pretty sure we've all seen this before, where it's like there's an object that's like glitched out, and it's like multiple points on your screen are like connecting to the object, and this looks like it's stretched all over your screen. Like, I've seen that happen multiple times. Like I see it happen maybe like 3 or 4 times every other match. and it's
Okay.
not like it's just distracting, but it's not like game breaking. But like stuff like that, they just gotta get cleaned up. But I'm having a good time with it. It's it runs a little heavy on PC, especially the CPU. But I think these are things that, like, I remember Battlefield 2042 was running pretty heavy on PC, and they got it optimized over time. So I kind of expect the same thing to happen here too.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like I said before, I think, and so another thing too, and Fuzz, we're gonna get you here in a second as well too, brother. Make sure we get in on this conversation. Is that I think the people that it's coming from too, we got to understand the human element, right, Pong? Mind you, this is a community that's been starved for a good Battlefield for a very long time. What they consider a quote unquote good Battlefield. So they are going to be quite nitpicky, even though it's good. Because let's be honest, I think we've all said this one at this very point is probably the best state a Battlefield's been in for a very long time, as far as gameplay, gunplay, the connection with the community. They seem to be taking direct feedback. They seem to be implementing that feedback and doing just about everything that people have asked them to do within reason. Obviously, you can't please everybody, but by and large, they seem to have gotten it right. So even with that all being said, there are going to be things that the traditional Battlefield fans, just like Halo fans and Call of Duty fans, are going to gripe about. Now, you're right, though, Pong. I guess the odd thing about the map thing for me, and I'm going to throw this over to you, Fuzz, is the fact that you just if we don't get to like experience one, the first time will be in the actual game when it releases, which is kind of odd because you want people to kind of get an idea of how the map's going to play, kind of get an idea of like spots and things, because it matters to Battlefield fans, right? Like, I need the layout of the map. I need to know how to play the map. Now you're eventually gonna get it at some point, even during release, but it'd be nice just to get one to just kind of get a general idea of how it's going to play, the flow, because that does really matter in a game like Battlefield, way more than Halo, way more than Call of Duty. Positioning, things like that matter so much in that game. About, that could be the determination between winning and losing. So Fuzz, just where you at on the map situation? I know you've played it quite a bit, but where you at on just Battlefield in its current state?
Well, unfortunately, I haven't had a chance to play this second round of beta, but I'm going to try to see if I can play before it closes tomorrow or tonight or whatever. But I kind of figured it's one of those things where they want to at least get people used to the current maps, or probably the ones that they feel are probably more problematic. Not getting a chance to play Rush just yet. I don't know what to say as far as the map size and how they had it laid out, but the key things that from what I played the previous weekend, I was already sold enough to pre-order, which I had already written off EA after 2042, and the problems I had with Jedi Survivor and whatnot and stuff. So EA was kind of on the shit list for the most part, but yeah, this last weekend, everything played, within reason for what I was expecting, using 2042 for comparison's sake. But as far as maps, as long as we have some bigger maps, I think we'll be fine. And it looks like that's going to be the case. So I'll kind of wait and see. And yeah, it's going to suck to kind of discover it for the first time on launch day. But then again, that'll be the case for everybody. So nobody will have that much of an advantage. But as far as like that space shot with the vehicle, seeing how much they do have built out on certain maps and things like that, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see more vehicles, more ways to traverse and stuff like that on these bigger maps when we do finally get to see them in person, kind of thing. But yeah, I think this is going to be Battlefield's bigger year. Maybe not as large as what they did numbers wise for like Battlefield 3 or Battlefield 1 kind of thing, but I think this will definitely be a larger number for them in comparison to some of the other ones, as well as the fact that they're now, I guess, rumor has it they're trying to go to an annual turnaround year type of thing. It might take them 5 or 6 years before they get to that point, but if they're going to try to have 3 teams start doing this where they can churn them out, every year, maybe this is a positive sign before they go to that. Yeah, it seems like whenever a team goes to doing that annual stuff, it's like the innovation goes down unless there's some sort of competition. Although they will have COD as competition annually, but I don't know. I kind of feel some of it gets watered down when they start doing that. But at least if this is the baseline from which they can build from, it seems like it's a much better build than what 2042 was. So maybe that'll be a step in the right direction. But yeah, looking forward to this thing at launch. Now I just got to figure out how much time I divvy up between this division, and I might even hop back to Diablo. So it's like all of these time sink games are killing me.
Now I feel you, man. But once again, it's a great problem to have, right? In this day and age, it's a golden age. I'm stealing that from Pong, but yeah, definitely the golden age, man. So on that note, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap the show up, man. It's such good conversations, man. Shout out to everybody who came out and watched the show live. Shout out to everybody. I forgot. Let me just go back real quick because these are very, very important that I get to these two gentlemen. I know Bounty as well as the Blue, both gifted 5 memberships, so each. So I appreciate you guys doing that. It's super awesome. So thank you guys for that and the support as well on the channel. But let me go ahead and let my fellas here. We're gonna start with our guests. Give out their pleasantries. So first and foremost, Slow-Mo, glad to have you on today, brother. It's been a while, man, but every time I reach out to you, you always get back to me. I appreciate you, man. And once again, don't be a stranger, bro, but let everybody know where they can find you, Slow-Mo.
Appreciate being here. I appreciate gaming conversations. It's a lost art, it seems, in this gaming community. But I had a good time as usual. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, whatever time you got left in it. You can find me and my co-host Gaming Forte on the Damage Per Second podcast channel. We upload games that we play. We do the podcast every Thursday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Forte owes us another Death Stranding stream. I have enjoyed making the thumbnails where I'm using. I got his face. Basically showing him as like Norman Reedus in the game and the thumbnails. It's been a good time. He apparently still hasn't learned how to not lose all of his packages every time he sees water. So it's been a great time. Come check out the streams. I've also been playing, I need to get back to it, but I've been playing through the Borderlands series up until Borderlands 4. I gotta get caught up. But that's been just kind of like a little fun thing I've done, because I'm a huge Borderlands fan. I've played them all 5 billion times. So this would be just another, run through them all before the new one comes out. But, if you like that kind of stuff, come check out the channel. And, hope you guys enjoy your week coming up.
Appreciate you, Slow-Mo. Once again, all his information is in the description below. You guys go check him out. Do us a favor. Go support, the guests that come and hang out here. You guys always do a great job of doing that as well. So shout out. Once again, Slow-Mo. Awesome guest, man. Love having you here. Like you said, man, there's very few people that, have that kind of energy. You know what I mean? You're one of those guys that I love having on the show every single time I get a chance to get you up here, because it's always a great conversation. Love your talking points, your knowledge, all of that good stuff. On top of it, it's great when you have a buttery smooth voice like you and Fuzz. That helps too, right?
This is Slow-Mo backslap on the game. Stop.
Right.
I'm trying to compete. I'm trying to take Fuzzy's.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that. Fuzz is effortless. He just wakes up like that, bro. He don't even try. So it is what it is. Yeah, but no. Shout out to you for coming through. You guys go check out Slow-Mo, the channel, DPS podcast. Man. Shout out to Forte as well. Shout out to Luca. I know. I don't know if Scumcast is still going, but shout out to Luca too. It's been a while since I've talked.
She stopped. She stopped Scumcast about almost a year ago.
Oh wow! But, wow! Holy moly! Okay.
She's doing good though.
Good.
She plays games. Just the games that she cares about playing, good. And she's calling me up and nagging me about everything under the sun. So typical Luca. I think it's yeah.
Shout out to her though. She's awesome though. Shout out to her, man. It's been a while, but yeah, man. Thank you for coming on once again. We're gonna have you on again, hopefully sometime soon, man. We won't make it so long this next time, brother. But shout out to you for hanging out with us. So let me move on to my brothers, man. Mr. Pong. So another great show. Had Slow-Mo. It's been a while. I had to go back and check the archives. That's how I was scrolling for like 5 minutes trying to figure out the last time. And that's a long time, and just scrolling time. Like that's a long time to be scrolling, trying to figure out when the last time he was on the show. But Pong, man, another great one. Great topics, brother. Let everybody know where they can find you if they don't know already.
Oh no, it was fantastic to be back again. I love this time. I keep saying it, but I do love this time zone. It works out perfectly for me. So it was great to be here with obviously you, sir, PTK Blam, and of course Fuzzy as well. But extra special to have Slow Mo because it has been a minute since I've been able to hear his voice and get his conversation. Man, I again, like he said, that's the one thing I've always mentioned here, especially with how many guests we have roll through here. Man, always having different voices, always having different opinions on our favorite hobby is a great time, man. And so Slow Mo, thank you for taking your time to be here, brother. Appreciate it. And otherwise, chat, you guys are all amazing. You know that. Nothing but love and respect. You come out and support this. You come out and support all the shows. And without that, we're just nobodies. We're talking to nobody. So thank you all for being here. Otherwise, you know how to find me, Pong Soul, everywhere. Follow me, I'll follow you back. Obviously, my week starts on Thursday nights over on the Fun Speculation Network with the Name It What You Want To on Thursday nights. The show that was formerly PM in the PM, but now Mav is back hosting because it's his one show a week. So just join us, and we get the family rolling through. We had Fuzzy and Jasper with us last Thursday. Whoever's available rolls on through on Thursday nights, and it starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Central Time Thursday night. Fun Speculation Network. Be there for that. And then, of course, Saturday mornings, it's Living Split Screen. The past 2 weekends have been beta, have been Battlefield beta. Me and Steel going live. We've had parts of the chat roll through and join us in game. We've still talked some topics, but this coming weekend, we should be back to a normal show. 3+ hours of Living Split Screen every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time. We'll take you from your morning to your afternoon to your evening, depending on where you are in the world. So be there for that. And then, of course, back here, God willing, Sunday afternoon for another episode of the Shop Podcast. It is the golden age of gaming, people. So please have a great start to your week, huh? Enjoy the first beginning of your week. Have a great Monday, and get out there and play what you love. Love what you play, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Get us out of here, PTK.
Appreciate you, Pong. You guys know where to find Mr. Pong So Out, man. Not too difficult to find. Go follow him on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. It's gonna be the easiest way to keep up with everything he has going on throughout the week, depending on the show, podcast, whatever the case may be. So shout out to Pong, my brother, my real life brother, for real. Always love you being here, man. Like I said, the battery of the Shop Podcast for sure, brother. And then next, last but not least, Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere, man, a great show. Like I said, at Slow Mo here. It has been a very long time since you've been here, so I was super looking forward to it. But we locked in, had a great topics. Chat was great too. So let everybody know where they can find you, Fuzz.
Oh yeah, this was a great time. Love when we have Slow Mo on here. Always great to see we have fellow division players out there. No shade to Destiny, but it's been a good run, kind of thing. But no, it's always great.
You can shade Destiny. You can shade Destiny.
No, but yeah. Well, Division's getting its resurgence now, so we'll see some more stuff at Gamescom. I'm hoping for Survival 2.0 or just some seasonal stuff. Weather permitting, some snow. I kind of missed that in this more recent game, but still having fun with it. It's always a fun time. So gotta hop on, I guess, PC, because you mainly played on PC these days, right?
Yeah. I'm a PC guy on the Division now. Although it's funny enough, Division 1, I literally 100% achieved that game on Xbox. Like and getting that last achievement, which is 100 extracted packages out of caches out of the Division Survival.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, that took a minute, but that and Division 2. I probably played a significant amount of it on Xbox before I switched to it, but I built my PC and then played a lot of it over there. But yeah, I play primarily on PC now.
Okay. Yeah, I would have to start new characters. I already got 4 I built up. But hey, it's a fun game. I'll definitely be over on PC at some point. But for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just find me on social media, Fuzzy Belvedere. You'll be able to find me later on tonight. Actually, right after I grab a bite to eat, we'll be doing Pixelated Echoes with 3-Bit at, I think that's going to be like 8:30 or 8:45 Eastern tonight. I'll post the links on social media, and then it's Xbox Lunch Break Special Monday at 12 noon with Boom and probably Crispy Bomb as well. Be talking about Gamescom Gamescom right around the corner. I have a feeling we're going to get some more good news as far as gaming is concerned, some more hardware stuff and things along those lines. And then, like Pong said, see you guys on Fun Speculations channel on Thursday at 8 p.m. Always a good time to come hang out with us. Definitely love being there as well with the games of the week on Tidbits. And then Friday, Breakfast with Boom, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Definitely hang out with us for the beginning into the weekend. And then later that evening, Fright Night with Ferocious Fee, me and my wife doing the horror podcast thing. If you're into horror movies or even horror games, come check us out. 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Fright Night with Ferocious Fee. And man, it's always awesome being on here with you, Pong, as well as you, PTK. And yeah, it's a great time to be a gamer. That's all.
Get it, man. Shout out to you, Fuzz. You guys know what to do. Go follow Fuzz on the social media as well, too. You want to find out what he has going on throughout the week as well, too, Fuzz. Love having you here, my other real-life brother as well that makes this show what it is, man. But last but not least, your host here, PTK Blam. And like I said, like these two gentlemen said before and echoed already, it's always awesome to see you guys and have this show and kick it here on Sunday. You guys make this show very, very special. So you can follow me on socials. All of that's down in the description below. Your boy got the TikTok as well. So I make content there Monday through Friday daily. So just a quick daily video for you guys, but seems to be doing very well. You guys are enjoying those. So go check that out. That's all in the description below as well too. But we will be back here next week. More than likely another guest or two. Just to let you guys know as well too, my DMs are open. So if you guys would like to see someone on the show that may not have been here, or you think that would be great, let me know. Just hit me up, DM me, just tweet at me, let me know what that person is, and I'll reach out. I do not have a problem doing that. So I'm here for you guys. I want to make this show as entertaining as possible for the people that are watching it. So once again, I appreciate you guys. There's a lot of games out here. Go play. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, man. Other than that, peace out, everybody.